Welcome to Instant Discussions. This episode about The Usual Suspects from 1995.
On this episode, we find out who hates Alec Trebek.
Yeah.
Out of the three of us.
I think everyone.
I
don't know. It's all right.
Except he's a Canadian.
It's okay. How does The Usual Suspects have anything to do with... I don't know.
His shirt.
I get it.
Yeah.
So The Usual Suspects is a
I
film...
know what you're talking about.
This kind of inspired by the choice of last week of us discussing Reservoir Dogs. That's where I decided we had to do this because I was a play on the crime drama, and this was
A lot of drama, a lot of crime.
a very much a crime drama show, crime thriller as they call it. So yes, they round up the usual suspects, and they're
God,
interviewing.
that's why it's called that.
Yeah. There's actually a line in Casablanca.
I was confused. They didn't say the title of the movie in the movie.
I know. Well, now they did.
Superman 4.
I
Yeah.
don't know if they did. In Casablanca, there's a line of, round up the usual suspects. And you'll see it in a lot of films. And, they've got a crime. They don't know who did it. Let's round up some criminals that we know.
It's
and
racial profiling.
It is. It's a profiling. I don't know if it's just racial profiling.
Mostly blacks and Mexicans.
It is
I would
profiling
say.
based on your
lot of
history. There's
this
so
is the
many
movie,
blacks and
though.
Mexicans in this. Yeah. No. Okay, so they're getting the story.
It's like the Bible. They're going to have a white guy to portray the black man.
It starts off yesterday. The film starts off yesterday in San Pedro.
Right.
Not too far away from where we are, but it's interesting.
Or Ryan.
Yeah, where you are
Because
normally.
part of this is doing.
Yeah. So it's told. The main story is told through Verbal Kent, who's talking about what happened because he was the only person to survive, except for a Hungarian guy who had severe burns. And he tells the whole story of how it happens. It actually does say that's the
You
movie
read that before.
title. No, I was actually having a conversation with someone else, and we were talking about film history stuff. So he might have read that before.
Yeah.
But he was saying in his film history class they showed the movie Casablanca first, and then showed this movie, and talked about how that came from there.
Yeah, this guy's a stupid cripple.
Yeah, he's a stupid cripple. If I go to my notes, which I've got somewhere around, I don't know where.
Right behind Twitch Plays
my
Pokemon.
phone. Yeah, Twitch Plays Pokemon is always going to be on here. By the time that I'm interested to know by the time that we put this up,
Right,
Twitch Plays
yeah.
Pokemon is. Maybe it's become the #1 TV channel in America at that point.
Yeah.
It's completely replaced NBC's lineup.
It may have beaten the Elite Four already.
I would love. I would love if NBC says, scrap all of our shows. We're gonna show Twitch Plays Pokemon now and just get all of the ratings from everything. That was the first note that I had written. How the whole movie starts from that line. The investigator saying, "I'm smarter than you," and the look in Kevin Spacey's eye when he says that to him. And that's especially a thing because I've seen this movie before. So me watching this was definitely a second viewing.
Oh, by the way, if I had seen this, I didn't remember a damn thing.
Good. And I love that.
I don't know if I have. Maybe I hadn't.
Yeah, maybe you haven't seen it. But it's, because this was a movie that, I unfortunately already knew the ending to it before I started watching it. So I never got a first viewing, really. But this was a second viewing to me, so getting to pick up on that point. When he said that line, "I'm smarter than you," and just calling him stupid, and that look on his face of "You think I'm stupid? Watch this," and then begins the story. Because at that point, Verbal wasn't talking, and he was, "I'm not going to say anything. I got immunity. I'm not gonna rat at anyone."
Diplomatic immunity.
Just been revoked.
So this was your first time watching this movie.
Yep.
And you didn't know, but this was probably your first time watching this movie.
Yeah. Other than some horribly repressed memory.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about Usual Suspects. So you didn't have any horrible flashbacks when you started watching this of something terrible.
No, not at all.
Nope, not at all. All right, what did you think first going on this movie when this whole thing's starting of yesterday in San Pedro and it?
Right away, I didn't really like it.
Okay, I can understand.
Right away, it was just, and even the whole way through, it was
It's
just
slow.
corny.
Okay, I was thinking slow from the
It's
most
like,
part.
it's not that slow, but it's corny and cliche, and all the characters are just
they're the usual suspects.
But I don't
they're
believe
much
any of them.
caricatures.
The action films from the 90s, like a lot of them where you got drawn in, like audiences, like they thought like audiences would just get drawn in if at the beginning a death happened, a murder.
Yeah. And this is
right.
But I was upset because all my friends are like, "You haven't seen this? You'll love it." And then I went to watch it, and I was like, "Oh."
I think this is one of those things like Reservoir Dogs too, where the people who saw
There's
it
a second
earlier on. What?
The more usual suspects.
The more when
Reservoir Dogs too.
people see it early on, and they
At the time.
at the time it's a much more powerful thing, and then so many filmmakers after this see this movie and are inspired by that one and go on. Now, of course, in this one they're playing off of cliches in crime movies, going all the way back to even things like Chinatown, which we've discussed earlier.
But it was to the point where it was annoying to me.
Yeah, but they're building off of it for a specific reason.
Like,
and why
for me, right away, like, I hate when people flick cigarettes and, like, it ignites. Because it doesn't happen. I tried it. It doesn't even work. Use it. Try it.
What?
Put gas.
Don't try it. First of all, don't try it. Don't listen to anything.
The episode was
I'm
bullshit.
saying you guys. Yeah, it's bullshit.
The
Try
Olympic
I put it
torch
out,
one?
and I got a cigarette.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
The Olympic torch one where
It's going out and you get to use the cigarette and
Wow.
no, I don't know. I think we could try it. Depends on the level of how much gasoline is there and that. But I wouldn't say try it. I'm gonna say don't try it.
Deceived.
I'm gonna say please don't try
for
this
you
at home.
to try it
No.
in the backyard after.
We'll try this out. We'll have a special episode where we try out.
Don't try this at home.
But if you do, film it and show it to us. But don't do it. But if you're stupid enough to do it, film us and send us a link.
If you're stupid enough to do anything stupid, film it and send us a link.
Exactly. Especially Mythbusters, if you're watching this, do try it. Yeah. I want them to do it because then they'll do it safely and they'll show us and it'll look cool and they'll end it with a huge fireball no matter what.
It would be like Dragon Ball Z and it takes.
Okay, let's continue on with this. All right, so you were not into this. You were out as soon as it begins.
But I, from this show, I've learned that
You know not to do
try.
that. Keep
So
watching.
I went through it, got a little bit better, but overall it was just like,
Okay. How was your impression watching this?
Yeah, I was at the beginning waiting for it to actually start.
Yeah.
Because I instantly got that, oh, this is one of those 90s films where murder at the beginning was enough. And then they're going to do a bunch of exposition as an excuse. Like, their excuse for a shit ton of exposition is this murder at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, just waiting. And, yeah, that was my first impression.
This was one that I had heard about this movie before, as it's one that's been talked about. But unfortunately, I was watching some stupid show on VH1 where they were talking about, somehow in the show they were talking about, like, best twists in movies.
oh.
And they talked about this one and spoiled it, and that pissed me off. Because then I saw the ending, and so I knew.
This isn't a good. Well, we're in.
What? I thought it was good, but anyway, I don't know because I didn't see it. I didn't see it for the first time. I knew it going in the first time because they told me about it on VH1 before I watched it, and then I tried to watch for a while. Okay, well we'll get into all of the depth getting into this. Okay,
Good parts.
yeah, good parts. Were there any good parts? Because you guys.
My favorite part was when Sosa went nuts on his family.
When Kaiser saying when his family was being held and his wife was getting raped and his children are screaming and he's just like bam, bam, bam.
And then he kills Zembo. I like that.
That was a good one.
That was a good scene. I liked that one.
Yeah.
I think my favorite was, I think I'm gonna shit blood tonight.
Oh.
Because I was just like, what? And just started laughing.
Yeah.
But that was my favorite line.
That was a good line.
That was a really good line.
Yeah, I love the backstory behind Kaiser Soze and him talking about it, especially like how he was formed and the idea of he has no family. He got rid of all his family and ties. He has nothing that they can track him down and worry about that, and nothing that they can hold leverage over him because these were criminals holding leverage over him by holding his family hostage. So he kills his family because he doesn't want them to suffer. But then also from that point forward, you can't hold leverage over me in that kind of way. And at that same time, in the story, Soze's holding each one of them each one of these people in the usual suspects in their crowd has someone that he's got leverage over them by holding them ransom in certain ways. That we've got our eyes on them. We can have easy access to kill them, and if you don't do what I want you to do, I'm going to kill them. And so they all have something, but Kaiser says he doesn't have that. So you could kill his assistant, and that's why they think like, oh, you're Kobayashi, you're Kaiser Soze, so we don't believe that he exists. So we could kill you, but it's like, oh, if you kill me, then these people get killed regardless. So anyway, I like that backstory on him.
Jeez, that budget.
So yeah. So worst thing about the movie.
I just didn't like all the corny acting, the cliche stuff. I don't know. Even when they're smoking, you can tell they're not even inhaling. They're like, and they hold it all weird. Everybody holds it really weird in a different way. They're like,
I didn't notice that.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. I'm not a smoker, so I don't really pay attention to that part.
Like I was just like,
And then his voice.
Like,
yeah.
I'm like,
I don't know if they say like.
What's the dude's voice?
The guy's the best voice.
I was like,
Yeah,
why
like,
the fuck is he talking like that?
I like that guy.
I kept on having to like listen really hard.
I liked how terrible it was, but
yeah,
I didn't think as much of like terrible acting of that. It's just the choices on that, but it's. I thought it was funny because it's all told in the story that he's telling.
I didn't judge that super hard because I'd never been to New York.
Yeah.
And he might have been like from New York. Yeah, you know what I mean? And so it's just like, alrighty, maybe.
It sounds like he has like a learning disability.
Yeah. What was
Like,
your
honestly.
worst part then? Worst thing about it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of along the same lines. I think the worst part was just the beginning, though.
Okay.
Because, like, the absolute worst, that's just the beginning.
The clichéness of it.
And the taking forever to get to the...
Yeah, I think this movie drags. That's the worst part for me. Is it seemed to drag for me.
It got more interesting once it got to, Kevin Spacey being interviewed by him and telling his story.
The more he's talking in the story, I love it, and I love this movie for Kevin Spacey. So, but it did drag at certain points.
Who may or may not be gay.
Well, we can talk about that in the extended if we want to, but may or may not be, but it's not important.
It's very important.
He says that he's not. Okay. Well, we'll talk about how important that is.
According to
extended.
Leviticus.
Oh yeah, that's right. That guy. Leviticus is a jerk. We'll get into that later too, about how much of a jerk Leviticus is. So, let's go with ratings on this now.
Tony!
No, I'd say 2.5, but I don't know if I'm going up or down.
Well, it's the difference between like and dislike.
Yes.
According
Because
to
2.5. Well,
yeah, I'd go 2.
it's a 5-point scale. It's a 5-point scale. 2.5 is the middle. So 2.
Yeah, I'd go
Did
2.
not like.
I really just didn't like it. Which is upsetting. Everybody told me I was gonna like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn shit, ass,
Cock.
blood belching vagina.
That was a few episodes ago. Alright.
All right. What about you, 7?
3.
3.
Yeah, I mean,
All right.
with all of its downfalls, I don't know. Maybe it's just that it's reminiscent of my childhood or whatever, but I like the whole, like... And then I also really like the mind games and...
It's reminiscent of your childhood.
This
What
is
the hell
just
did
like
you
this-
go through?
watching
Watching
cheesy 90s action films.
No, that's scene in Kaiser Soze when his family.
He's like, when I killed my family.
It's pretty much just like that.
I was the lone survivor. None adopted. So...
No, your child was.
No, just like watching 90s cheesy action movies. That's...
Okay.
Yeah. That
See,
was,
but it wasn't
that was
cheesy
reminiscent. And then
enough
on
to be
top
like
of it,
awesomely cheesy.
and then on top of it, like, I like, where they were trying to go.
Yeah.
In as much of, it was mind games and trying to fool the audience, I'll say. And it might have happened back in that time.
Yeah.
It might have fooled the audience, and I'm like, okay, that was really cool. But
That's not condescending.
90s people are stupid. Yeah, I give this one a 4.
A 4?
Yep.
Wow.
That's pretty high.
It was my pick, I'm gonna have to like. I don't like to. That's a lot. I don't like to pick movies that I'm not interested in. The only one, I picked that whale movie, Blackfish. I picked that one because I wanted to get a discussion
Don't.
about it.
You son of a bitch, I do it immediately.
I wanted to do the discussion out of that one, so that's why I picked that one. But usually, I would only pick a movie that's going to be a 4 or a 5 to me. I prefer to pick 5s, but you know, it's good. I'm gonna only pick a movie that I really love and want to share with you guys.
Yeah.
And I think we'll in the next one, we're really in the next part of this, we'll get into the actual discussion now.
Okay.
And
All right,
why
cool.
I want to really talk about this. But we got our ratings out of the way. Let's talk about our next week's pick. What's your next week's pick?
I'm going in Blonde.
You're going in Blonde? You're going in Legally Blonde?
I'm
Nice.
picking a film I haven't seen before, and I even.
So we're continuing with the train of picking. This is the third movie in a row that you haven't seen before, but that shouldn't be possible. But fine,
What?
you can do it. I know it's fine
Well, it's a movie that.
because I mean you're
it's
risking
a movie
picking a
that
movie that sucks.
it recommends it to me,
Avengers.
and it's an independent film,
Okay,
Avengers.
and it looks interesting, and I put it on my instant queue just because I saw it, and I was like, what? And then I read
we're
the
gonna hope
thing, and
this
I
is
was
good.
like, what?
Oh,
Okay.
this is terrible. If
Yeah, I know.
if we all watch this movie and get back and be like, let's pick a different film. But it most likely won't happen. We can trust Netflix recommendations usually.
I
Like
hope it doesn't star Jack Black. That's all I'm saying.
this
No,
is
it doesn't.
Okay.
It's called Robot and Frank.
that was been high on my queue. I even got it the disc from Netflix, and then they added it to the instant watch. I'm like, I don't need this disc.
Filthy disc.
So yeah,
It's
throw the
been
disc
on my
away.
list, and it looks like an interesting film.
When I was in theaters, I wanted to see it. Nice. I'm glad you picked that one, but it's one of those movies that I haven't seen yet.
I know,
Like,
I'm
if
going
it's
in
not
blind.
good, I don't want to talk about it. We'll see.
We'll find out my dice roll next time.
Ah!